In this video, we're going to see an application that is open source and can be easily deployed. So you can back up your application servers easily to an external provider through SFTP, to WebDAV, NFS, or any Rclone configuration that you can set up, like G Drive or OneDrive from Microsoft and so on. And this is the application. The application is called ZeroByte and it has a very nice interface. And in here you see that you have the application UI, and then in the left side you have the volumes, repository, backups, notifications, and settings. And basically, let's go and check all of these details. Volumes are the things that you want to back up. So in here you can easily add your volumes. In here I have two volumes, like data and the Docker volumes that I have on these servers. And to add a volume, you just hit create, and in here you just put a name to the volume that you want to back up, and in here you choose what you want to back up. And in here it will be like a local directory, an NFS location, SMB, WebDAV, SFTP, or in case you want to use Rclone, you can do that and configure Rclone to back up something from Rclone. And yeah, in here you put the details. And for instance, if you are going to check the directory, in here you have the options to change the path, and basically this is the path that I've added, so the application to have access to it. So you can easily select the application you want to back up, and in here you hit create volumes, and right now you have the volume created, and in here you will have the details with the health check and capacity and things like that. And in the repository side you have the destination where the backup will be sent, and in here you see that I have a local backup and I have a home server destination. So basically I want to back up this cloud server to my home servers that has an SSD storage, and I have 4 terabytes of data to it. And to add the repository where the backup it will be done, you just need to create repository like this, and you put the name, and in here you choose the backend, and in here you see that you have the local. So basically you can bring your data locally to be stored in here. You can enable the an S3 to back these things up. You can put an SFTP. You can go and use the Google Cloud Storage, and you again have the options to use Rclone. So basically, if you set up Rclone on your server, then you will be able to send this data to any Rclone configured storage that you have. And in here you see that, for instance, if you're going to use the SFTP, again you put the details with the port, with the user path, with the private key, and you just configure it like this. I already did that. We are going to see some backups, and of course in here you can also use the local option. So basically in here, if you want to fetch the data with SFTP in the volumes, you can bring it locally and store it in here. And in here again you choose the local and you choose the compression mode. I will choose the fastest, and in here you will have the repository directory. So basically here it will be the path where locally this detail it will be stored. You need to grant access to the Docker to access these files. We are going to see this when we are going to see the deployment details. And yeah, I mean, this is the details. And in the backup area you see that I have the backup done, and here you see that you have the local backup. In here it's just backing up a data directory to the local backup in here, and in here I have the backup that it's running. So basically all the Docker volumes that I have in here with Deploy are sent to my home server. And if you're going to click the details in here, you see that you have these options to back these things up right now. You can edit the schedule and you can see the details. You can set notification basically in here. You can add notification over email, Discord or Slack or other providers. In case something is happening with the backup, you to be notified. You can add also a mirror. So basically you can also send the backup to other provider, not only one provider like the SFTP one. In case you have Rclone, for instance, you can set the Rclone details in here, and you can go and also store the backups in there. And in here you see that I have a couple backups that were running, and this it's done daily. And you see that it has like about 4 gigabytes like this. And yeah, I mean, in here you will have the options to see the backup file. So these are all the disks that I am currently backing up in here, and you can also restore them from here. So if you are gonna hit restore, you'll have also the options to restore it to an original location or to a custom location. And again, this it needs to be accessible via Docker in case you want to restore it on the servers to be persistent. And in here you have the options only to restore, for instance, only one directory or only one file from this if you want. It's up to you. So you have all of this flexibility with these tools, and it's quite nice because it's easy to use and it has a nice interface. And if we're going to check like backups right now, if we're gonna run a backup right now, you're going to see that the backup will run and it will start backing up again my Docker volume to my home server. And right now the backup was done and it has run. And yeah, for instance, if you want to create like a backup job, in here you have the options to choose the volume that you want to backup. In my case, let's go and choose again the data with Docker volumes, and in here you put the backup name. In here you choose the repository from the one that you configure, so basically local backup or home server. I will choose the local just to see. In here you choose the backup frequency. You can choose hourly, daily, weekly, or specific days, or a custom cron. Let's choose daily, and in here you will set the execution time, let's say like 01:00 AM like this. And in here you have options also to choose what to backup. If you don't choose anything, it should backup everything. You have the options to include and exclude different things. And in here you have the options to set the retention policy. So in here you have the options to keep only the number of snapshots that you want. You can keep daily, weekly, monthly, and so on. So this offers all the things that you need to back everything securely. And again, in the notification, you have the options to set notification in case you want to be notified when backup it's running, if it's successful, if it has an warning, if it fails, if it started, and so on. And in here you have the options to configure it. I have an email SMTP right now, but you can use Slack, Discord, and other notification providers in here. And you can also generate, for instance, a webhook that can be used. In the settings area, you have the username with the current password. To change this, you can download your recovery key because it's using Rastic behind the scenes to encrypt the backup. So in case you are thinking to send this to an external cloud provider, they will not have access to your data because this will be encrypted. But again, if something happens with this installation, you will need the recovery key to be able to recover your data. And also you can enable two-factor authentication if you want for this to have it as secure as possible. And yeah, I mean, this is what ZeroByte is doing, and I've created in here a detailed article with all the details that we need to do to have this set up. We are going to go and set this up. You can do it with Docker, with Docker Compose. You can do it in Deploy to be easier. I'm gonna do Deploy for this. And in here you have the repositories. You see that it has about 5k stars. And here you see that it's actively developed and it has just been updated. So this is a very interesting options to use to back up everything. And yeah, in case you like it, just go and check this, and you can give it a star because this is a really nice application that can be used to back up everything only in this interface. And yeah, in this way you will have your data backed up, and in case something happens you will have a way to restore it. And in here I've created the article with the explanation and all the details. So I have this installed on a VPS server with the help of Deploy. If you don't know, Deploy, it's an application that can help you easily deploy any Docker application. You can deploy like next application, databases and so on. I've created a video in the past, and in here I have the Docker Compose file. So when I've created this, I didn't use the latest, I used the v0.19 version. Right now you see that it is like v0.22, and are the details. So basically in here I've added the network, so I can access this with the domain in docploy, and in here you have some options like cap add with sysadmin. So basically this will help you mount the NFS and SMB drive directly in the Docker Composer. So for this reason you have this in here. So in case you want to mount this directly in the Docker Compose file and you don't have them mounted on the file system on your server, you can just use these options and it will mount them automatically if you want to use them as a backup location or an option from where you can fetch the details. In here you have the time zone that you want to set, and volumes. It's quite important because in here you will have the volumes. So basically in here you will grant access to your local directory to this Docker container. So basically in here you see that I've added access to the backups directly in this side with data. And for instance, if we are going to check my deployments, because in there you will have more details, we are going to see the ZeroByte. In here you're gonna see that, for instance, to have access to the Docker volumes, to backup all the Docker volumes with docploy, I've granted access to this varlib Docker volumes in a Docker volume directory in the container with read only. And you see that in this way you will have the options to access this as a volume and send it to the local server. So if we're going to check my installation, in here you'll see that, for instance, as a volume I have the Docker volume added in there, and it's just using the Docker volume path, the internal path that I have it set up in here, and this will send it to the location I specified through SFTP to my home server that has enough storage. So this is a Docker Compose, and like this it's looking. If we're going to check the environment variables, in here you don't have anything, and in the domain side, to provide it a secure way to access this, I've added a zerobyte.app.bdoze.com, and I've linked this to the 4096 port because this is the port that ZeroByte is using right now, and I will use it with Let's Encrypt. And in this way I am using this to access it securely. You see that I have in here an URL with SFTP. So if we want to deploy this, again, you can do it with docploy, with Docker Compose. You just go and, for instance, fetch the Docker Compose from here. I've added also the version for the Docker Compose in here that you can use with the ports. This is the different thing that it's in there. And to go and create in here, I'll go to project with self-hosted, and in here I will create an compose file, and I will put it like test ZeroByte. It was with I, like this, and in here I will hit create, and I will go and add the Docker Compose file in the row. In here I will just put the details. I will put latest in here, so it can go and fetch the latest image for me. And in here I will let all the details like this. I don't have Rclone configured in here, but yeah, I will go through the configurations to show you how you can configure it if you want, but I will just provide you the details. And in here, for instance, I will hit save like this, so this will have access to backups and data like this. And right now what we're going to need is to go on to domains, and in here I will add a domain in this area, and in here you see that you don't have any service right now. I will hit refresh, and I will choose the ZeroByte, and in here I will put a name like backup.app.bdoze, bdose.com because I have a wildcard certificate set for the app.bdose.com. In here I'll let the path as it is. I will choose the port for 096 for this, and I will use HTTPS like this, and I will hit create. So right now I've linked the domain, and if we're going to check the Cloudflare, in here you need to point your subdomain or domain to your server. Right now I have a wildcard that everything that it's under .app.bdose.com, it will be sent to this IP address, and I don't need to do anything because this is a wildcard, and it will just fetch the details. And right now if we're going to go and deploy this, we're going to go to general, and we're going to hit deploy like this. And right now this should deploy, and this was very fast because the image was already available because I've installed this in the past. And if we're going to go to domains right now, and if we're going to access this, we should be able to have access to our ZeroByte installation. And here you can set up your email, and I will put my email like this. I will set a username, let's put it Dragoș, and in here I will set a password. Reconfirm. Okay, create admin user. Okay. In here you will have the options to download the recovery key, but you need to put a password. So basically this will download the recovery key in case something happens with these installations, to be able to restore the details. And like this it's looking right now. You have all the details, and in here you have the options to create a volume, and in here I will put the volume name, and in here you have the options to choose again the directory, NFS, SMB, WebDAV, SFTP. I want to back up a directory that is local in here, and in here you have the backups and data, and in data I have like something that it's stored in there. So I want to back up the data directory, and I will hit create, and right now it created the volume that I want to be backed up. And in here in the repository I will add the path where the backup should be done like this. I will choose the backend. Again, you can put it like local, S3, SFTP, Rclone if you have. I will choose local just to show you how it's working. I will choose the option for fast, like in here you see that you have the compression mode like fast and max, which is slower. And in here you have the repository directory where the backup should go. And I will choose the backup. In here, backups. Okay, and basically right now I've created like a mirror to mirror a directory from a local path to another local path, but again you can configure the SFTP or other way to back these things up. I just want to demonstrate you these things, and I will create the repository, and right now the repository is created. And we are going to enable the backup, create a backup job in here, and in here you choose the volume test, and in here I will put local B, the name, and backup repository. It will be the repository that I've created with test backup frequency. I will put it to be daily, and again I will put the hour like this. It's up to you. And in here you see that I have only one test file that would be backup, and yeah, in here you set up the other details. And if you want to keep like only 5, keep hourly, keep daily, like 7, 8 months, weekly if you want, and I will hit create. And right now this created a backup, and right now you have the options to go and, for instance, back the thing up right now. And right now everything went and back the details, and in here you have the file browser, and in here you see that the test file was just backed up. without a problem. And yeah, then you can go and enable the notification for this with SMTP. To add your SMTP details, you can go with Slack and configure like a webhook in there to be notified in a channel when backup it will be done. And right now you just need to go and add your backups so you have everything protected. And in case you want to use the Rclone for this, you just need to run the Rclone installation on the server. So you run this command to install Rclone on your server, and then you run Rclone config. And if you're running Rclone config, then you can configure an external provider. You have like more than 40 external providers that you can choose from. You can use your Apple subscription with iCloud. If you have, you can use G Drive and so on. The only thing that you need to do is to add the configuration in there. So basically in here you add the path to the Rclone configuration that is on your server, and you are mounting in the Docker compose file. So in this way you will have the Rclone set up, so you can use the Rclone config things in there to back everything up. So yeah, this is the ZeroByte, and this is how it's working. In case you like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. In case you have something to say, please drop a comment, because yeah, I want to have also your thoughts on this. And if in case you had problems with ZeroByte, or you know a better alternative that is easier, just go and put the details in a comment below. So thanks for watching, and I hope this video helped you back up your applications easily and have them more protected.